My husband and I have worked really hard over the last 2 years to find equity in our marriage. And by equity, I mean we work really hard to share the responsibility of parenting our children together. We work hard to make sure that the domestic labor is not falling on one person unfairly. We try to share the financial responsibility as much as possible. And this has worked really well for us. But the biggest pro that I've seen come out of this for us is that we've gotten so much time back. Before we worked really hard at this, what it typically looked like was I was in charge of knowing everything and ultimately being responsible for everything. And I was responsible also for delegating that stuff. So my husband was super active in the sense that he was always here. He was always with us. He was always doing these things with us. But it came from me. Hey, babe, we've got this today. Can you pack the diaper bag? Or hey, love, we need to do X, Y, and Z for Spirit Week. Can you help me do that, right? It was my job to know, and then I would pass off to him. And in this scenario, he would sometimes drop the ball or forget or not follow through in the correct way. But at the end of the day, it became my responsibility. And so there was a lot of resentment and frustration, but also we just spent so much time talking about domestic labor and caretaking and parenting, and it just became exhausting. And now that we work really hard to share these things, he owns very specific tasks, I own very specific tasks, and we share the responsibility of parenting and knowing what our kids need, we're no longer talking about domestic labor all the time. We don't have to talk about who's doing what and when because we just know. Right? I know he owns groceries, so I don't have to ask him when he's ordering them or if he's ordering them or when pickup is because it's his job and he's going to do it and I don't even have to think about it. It just happens. In the same way, he does not have to ask me about certain things in our home, right? We no longer spend so much time arguing and talking about household tasks and responsibilities. And I think that's what people don't understand is that if you put the work in, if you work to share the responsibility, you end up not having to talk about it so much. You end up not having to spend so much time and effort on it. It actually becomes more efficient because everybody's doing what they should be doing. We talk about this at work, right? Like our homes, our organizations. When everybody at work is doing their job, things run smoothly. When somebody's dropping the ball or not showing up or not doing their fair share, then everything stops. Everything becomes more difficult and takes more time. So if both people can show up and put in the same amount of effort and own their responsibilities, everything works better. It doesn't make sense in a group project, which is what a family is, that one person is responsible for everything and everyone, and the other people just show up to help sometimes. Right? That makes things a lot harder. So if you want to have a home that runs really smoothly, I think you should put in the work. My husband and I use a spreadsheet. It's a link in my bio to kind of really help divvy up how this works. But in general, I think just having conversations and check-ins and making sure everybody's aligned goes a very long way here. It really does make a difference. And then you'll be surprised by how much more time, space, and energy you have for the things that you actually care about and enjoy.